The credit alert lit up my phone at 3 a.m. $14,000 charged to Hermes Paris. My stomach dropped. I'd never even been to Europe. I'm Lisa, and 6 months ago I thought I had it all. A loving husband, a beautiful home in the suburbs, and the kind of financial stability my parents had worked their whole lives to give me. Now I was staring at my phone in the dark, trying to make sense of numbers that shouldn't exist. Samir, I whispered, nudging my husband. He stirred but didn't wake, peaceful in his designer pyjamas, the same ones he'd brought home last week, insisting they were a bargain find. The morning light brought no clarity. Over coffee, I tried to sound casual. "Hey, did you happen to use my card for anything overseas?" Samir barely looked up from his phone. "Of course not, babe. Why?" "There's a charge from Paris." He set his phone down then, dark eyes meeting mine. "Must be fraud. You should call the bank." His voice was steady, concerned even, but something felt off, like that slight pause before he spoke. "I will," I said, watching him over the rim of my mug. "It's just weird, you know, such a specific store. These scammers are getting sophisticated." He stood, straightening his tie. "Don't worry about it. I'm heading to Mum and Dad's before work. Dad needs help with some investment stuff." I nodded, remembering the first time I'd met his parents. Yolanda had swept me into a perfumed embrace, diamonds glinting at her throat. "Welcome to the family, darling," she'd said, while Zechariah looked on with approval. They lived in a mansion that screamed old money, though Samir had mentioned they'd had some setbacks recently. The bank representative was helpful, but what she told me made my blood run cold. "Mrs. Watson, this charge was approved in person, the chip was present, and the PIN was used correctly." "That's impossible," I said, pacing our kitchen. "I have my card right here." "There appear to be 2 active cards on this account." I stopped moving. "2? "Yes, both issued to Lisa Watson. One activated 6 months ago, shortly after your name change." My wedding had been 6 months ago. I hung up and called my best friend Poppy. She picked up on the first ring. "Girl, you're calling me before noon on a workday. Who died?" "I think my husband's stealing from me." Silence. Then, "Get your ass to my office now." Poppy's law office was all glass and steel, but her presence made it warm. She listened without interrupting as I explained about the charge, the duplicate card. "Have you checked your credit report?" she asked when I finished. "Not recently. I have good credit. I always have." She was already typing. "Log into your accounts, all of them, now." An hour later, I sat back, numb. 5 new credit cards I'd never applied for. Charges to luxury stores, first-class flights, hotel suites, all in my name. "This is identity theft," Poppy said quietly. "You need to decide what you want to do about it." "I need to talk to Samir first. Maybe there's an explanation." "Lisa?" Poppy leaned forward. "You're in finance. You know better than this. These signatures, they're forged. This isn't a misunderstanding." My phone buzzed. A text from Yolanda. "Sunday brunch tomorrow, darling. I simply must show you what your father-in-law bought me in Paris. You'll die." I stared at the message, remembering Samir's words this morning. The investment stuff, the setbacks, the designer pyjamas. "I need to see something first," I told Poppy, "before we do anything official." "Be careful," she warned. "If you're right about this, you're dealing with people who think they're entitled to your life." I nodded, already planning tomorrow's brunch. I'd wear my favourite blue dress, the one that made me look innocent, trusting. I'd smile and laugh at Yolanda's stories, and I'd look for a silk scarf that cost $14,000. "I will be," I promised Poppy. "But first I need to know exactly what I'm dealing with." Walking to my car, I thought about my dad, who'd worked 2 jobs to keep our family afloat, who'd taught me about saving, about earning what you have, about respect. Another text from Yolanda. "Bring that lovely checkbook of yours, dear. Your father-in-law has an amazing investment opportunity to discuss." I got in my car and started the engine, hands steady on the wheel. Sunday brunch was going to be very interesting indeed. Sunday brunch at the Watson estate always felt like stepping into a museum where you couldn't touch anything. Today, the marble foyer gleamed as I entered, my heels clicking against the floor. The sound of tinkling crystal and laughter drifted from the sunroom. "There's my beautiful daughter-in-law." Yolanda's voice carried across the space. She floated toward me in a cloud of Chanel No. 5, and there it was, wrapped artfully around her neck, a distinctive orange silk scarf with a pattern I'd seen on my credit statement. My stomach churned, but I smiled. "That's gorgeous," I said, gesturing to the scarf. "Is that new?" "Oh, this little thing." She touched it delicately. "Zechariah surprised me in Paris. You know how he loves to spoil me." Except Zechariah hadn't been to Paris. I'd checked their social media obsessively last night. They hadn't left the country in months. "Lisa, darling," Zechariah emerged from his study, laptop under his arm. "Perfect timing. I have something exciting to discuss." Samir appeared behind him, looking nervous. "Dad, maybe we should let Lisa eat first." "Nonsense." Zechariah guided me to the dining room, where crystal glasses caught the morning light. The best deals are discussed over good food. The maid, a new one I noticed, served mimosas and eggs Benedict. Yolanda dominated the conversation, describing a spa weekend I was certain matched another mysterious charge on my credit card. "And Lisa," Zechariah cut in, opening his laptop, "I've found an incredible investment opportunity. High returns, minimal risk. I can get you in, but we need to act fast." I took a sip of mimosa. "How much are we talking about?" "Just 50,000 to start. A drop in the bucket considering the potential returns." Samir wouldn't meet my eyes. "That's a lot of money," I said carefully. "I'd need to think about it." Yolanda laughed, the sound like breaking glass. "Oh, darling, that's just what wives do. We support the family's ventures. When I married Zechariah, I gave him complete access to my inheritance. It's about trust." Speaking of trust, I pulled out my phone. I got the strangest alert about a charge in Paris. The room went still. Samir's fork clattered against his plate. "Must be fraud," Zechariah said quickly. "Terrible thing, identity theft." "Isn't it?" I smiled, watching Yolanda's hand drift to her scarf. "The bank said the card was used in person." "Well, these criminals are very sophisticated nowadays." Yolanda waved her hand dismissively. "Samir, pour your wife more mimosa. Lisa, you simply must try these truffles, imported from Italy." More charges I'd probably paid for. I accepted the glass from Samir, noting how his hand shook slightly. "Actually," I said, "I'd love to hear more about the investment opportunity. Could you email me the details?" "Of course," Zechariah brightened. "I'll need you to sign some preliminary paperwork. Nothing major, just standard forms." I bet they were. "Send everything to my work email. I'll have our legal team look it over." Samir choked on his drink. "That won't be necessary, babe. Dad's been doing this for years." Even better reason to do things properly. I stood, smoothing my dress. "I should get going. Early meeting tomorrow." Yolanda rose to embrace me, the silk scarf brushing my cheek. "You work too hard, darling. You should let Samir take care of things." Oh, he'd been taking care of things all right. In the car, I called Poppy. "You were right. The scarf was there, and they tried to get me to invest 50 grand in some scheme." "Tell me you recorded that conversation." I patted my purse where my phone had been recording the entire brunch. Every word. "Good girl. Come to my office tomorrow. We need to talk about your options." That night, Samir was unusually attentive. "You seemed quiet at brunch," he said, sliding into bed beside me. "Just tired." I turned away, remembering how we used to lie here talking about our dreams. Now all I could think about was how many lies had been whispered in this same bed. "Mom really likes you, you know," he continued. "Says you're the best thing that happened to our family." I thought about Yolanda's words. "That's just what wives do." "I'm going to make some tea," I said, slipping out of bed. In the kitchen, I opened my laptop and began typing. "Dear Mr. McCormick, I'd like to report a case of identity theft and credit card fraud." My hands were steady as I typed out every detail: the scarf, the duplicate cards, the forged signatures. In the bedroom, I could hear Samir's gentle snoring, unaware that his perfectly constructed house of cards was about to come crashing down. Sometimes the biggest betrayals come wrapped in silk, served with mimosas and million-dollar smiles. But I was done being the family ATM. Tomorrow I would start fighting back. The credit report landed in my inbox at work with a soft ping that felt like a bomb dropping. 67 pages. Normal reports aren't 67 pages. "Holy shit," I whispered, scrolling through account after account. 5 credit cards, 3 personal loans, a line of credit, all opened within months of our wedding. My office phone rang, making me jump. Lisa speaking. "I've been trying to reach you all morning," Poppy said. "Have you seen it?" "Looking at it right now." My voice cracked. How did I not know?" "Because you trusted your husband like you were supposed to." Poppy's voice hardened. "Now get your things, we're meeting someone." "I can't just leave work. Call in sick. This is more important." 30 minutes later, I sat in a coffee shop off Main Street, as far from my usual haunts as possible. Poppy arrived with a tall man in a crisp suit. "Lisa, this is Dylan McCormick. He's a fraud investigator I trust." Dylan's handshake was firm, his eyes kind but professional. "Ms. Daniels," he used my maiden name without being asked, "I've reviewed your initial report. We need to talk about your signature." He pulled out several documents, laying them side by side. "This is your real signature from your marriage license. These," he pointed to the credit applications, "are forgeries. Good ones, but definitely forgeries." "That changes things," Poppy leaned forward. "This isn't just identity theft anymore, it's criminal fraud." My phone buzzed. "Samir. Where are you? Your office said you went home sick. Should I bring soup?" I turned the phone face down. "What do I do now?" "First," Dylan said, "we document everything. Bank statements, credit cards, purchases. Then we build a case. But Lisa," he caught my eye, "you can't let them know you're investigating. People who commit fraud often panic when discovered. They might destroy evidence or worse." "Worse?" "Empty accounts, transfer assets, leave the country." My hands shook as I lifted my coffee. "They're already trying to get me to invest more money. Zechariah has some opportunity he wants me to sign on to." "Perfect," Dylan nodded. "Keep playing along. Record everything. We'll set up a secure email for you to forward documents to me." Back home, I found Samir in the kitchen with grocery bags. "Baby, you scared me. Why didn't you answer my texts?" "Sorry," I managed a weak smile. "Migraine. Needed to turn off my phone." He pulled me into a hug, and I forced myself not to stiffen. "Poor thing. I got your favourite soup. Oh, and Mum wanted me to remind you about the investment paperwork." "Right." I pulled away, pretending to rub my temples. "Did your dad email it?" "I can just bring it home, save you the hassle of reviewing it." "No," I said too quickly. "I mean, email's better, for my records." He gave me an odd look but nodded. That night I waited until Samir was asleep before slipping into our home office. The filing cabinet yielded more horrors. Statements from accounts I never knew existed, receipts for jewellery and watches, first-class airline tickets. My phone lit up with a text from my cousin Jasmine. "Girl, your in-laws are living large. Check Insta." I opened Instagram to find photos from a charity gala. Yolanda dripping in diamonds, Zechariah showing off a new Rolex. The caption read, "Supporting the arts with the fam, Tsa blessed Nahu giving back." Those diamonds matched a $23,000 charge from last month. My hands trembled as I took screenshots and forwarded them to Dylan. The next morning, Samir dropped another bomb. "Honey, we need to talk about the mortgage." I looked up from my untouched breakfast. "What about it?" "We're a bit behind. Nothing serious, but Dad suggested we might tap into your 401k to catch up. Just temporarily." The room spun. They'd maxed out my credit and now they wanted my retirement savings. "I'll think about it," I said, fighting to keep my voice steady. It's what families do, he said, kissing my cheek. We help each other. After he left, I ran to the bathroom and threw up. Then I called Poppy. They want my 401k, I gasped. Like hell they do. Lisa, we have enough. Dylan can move whenever you're ready. I thought about my dad again, how he'd worked overtime to help me start that 401k when I got my first job. Not yet, I said. I want all of it, every receipt, every lie, every fake signature. I want them to understand exactly what they did. Okay, Poppy said softly, but be careful. You're playing with fire. I touched my wedding ring, remembering our vows, for better or worse, in sickness and in health, but nobody mentioned in theft and in fraud. Don't worry, I said. I'm done getting burned. The Watson estate looked different now that I knew it was built on my stolen credit. Every crystal glass, every piece of art screamed fraud. But I smiled as Yolanda ushered me into their living room for afternoon tea. Lisa, darling, we've missed you. She air-kissed my cheeks. I've been telling everyone what a blessing you are to this family. My phone recorded quietly in my pocket as I settled onto their Italian leather sofa. That's so sweet. Of course, not every daughter-in-law understands family obligation like you do. Yolanda poured tea into delicate cups that probably cost more than my first car. Zechariah, come join us. Look who's here. Zechariah emerged from his study wearing a golf outfit that still had the price tags tucked inside. I caught a glimpse as he sat down. Another charge I'd probably find on my next statement. Lisa? Perfect timing. I was just about to call about that investment opportunity. Yes, I smiled, taking out my notebook. I'd love to hear more details. He launched into a complicated explanation about offshore accounts and guaranteed returns. I took notes, watching Yolanda fidget with her new tennis bracelet. It's really quite simple, Zechariah concluded. We just need you to sign these forms. He slid a stack of papers across the coffee table. I pretended to review them. This looks like it needs to be notarized. Oh, don't worry about that, Yolanda waved her hand. Samir can handle all those tedious details, like he handled the credit card applications. The words slipped out before I could stop them. The room went silent. Yolanda's teacup froze halfway to her lips. I'm sorry. Zechariah's voice was sharp. I forced a laugh. Oh, just thinking about all the paperwork Samir helps with. He's so good with that stuff. Yes, Yolanda recovered quickly. We raised him to understand the importance of family prosperity. You know, before you came along, we were worried he might marry someone less understanding. Less understanding? Someone who didn't appreciate the Watson name. Zechariah's tone was patronizing. You're lucky to carry it, my dear. My phone buzzed. A text from Dylan. Got the mortgage docs. Forgery confirmed. Ready when you are. Speaking of the Watson name, I kept my voice light. I saw the photos from the charity gala. Those diamonds were stunning, Yolanda. Weren't they? Zechariah surprised me. She touched the tennis bracelet. Though I suppose you already knew about them, didn't you? My blood ran cold. What do you mean? Well, your name is on all the accounts, darling. Don't play coy. It's not attractive. They knew. They knew I knew, and they didn't care. More tea? Yolanda smiled, all teeth and triumph. No, thank you. I stood up, hands steady. I should go. But we haven't finished discussing the investment, Zechariah protested. I'll think about it. Lisa. His voice stopped me at the door. Remember who we are, what this family has given you. Given me? They'd taken everything. In my car, I played back the recording. Their voices were clear, confident, entitled. I forwarded it to Dylan and Poppy, then drove straight to Poppy's office. She was waiting with a stack of documents. They admitted it, on record. They practically bragged about it. My voice shook. They think I'm their personal piggy bank. Well, they thought wrong. She spread out papers across her desk. Look at these. Credit applications, loan documents, even the mortgage refinance, all with forged signatures, all federal crimes. What's the penalty? With these amounts, years in prison, plus restitution. My phone lit up with a text from Samir. Mum says you left upset. Everything okay, babe? Another from Yolanda. Darling, don't be difficult. It's unbecoming. And finally, Zechariah. The investment paperwork needs your signature by tomorrow. Don't disappoint the family. I showed the messages to Poppy. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. Because they think you're trapped. She squeezed my hand. Are you ready to prove them wrong? I thought about their smug faces, their casual ownership of my life, their assumption that I would just keep playing along. Call Dylan, I said. It's time. Once we do this, there's no going back. Your marriage, your relationship with them, it all ends. I touched my wedding ring, then slowly slid it off. It felt like removing handcuffs. They ended it the moment they stole my identity. They just didn't expect me to fight back. Poppy picked up her phone. Dylan, we're ready. Start the paperwork. Outside her office window, storm clouds gathered. Perfect weather for what was coming. The Watson family was about to learn that some blessings come with sharp edges, and I was done being the sacrificial lamb at their altar of greed. Just act normal, Dylan had said. Keep collecting evidence. But normal felt impossible as I watched Samir get dressed for work, knowing each designer item he wore was bought with my stolen credit. You're quiet lately, he said, adjusting his tie. Everything okay? Just work stress. I forced a smile. Hey, your mum's hosting that dinner party tonight, right? Yeah, you're coming, aren't you? She's showing off her new renovation. The renovation I'd apparently financed. Wouldn't miss it. My phone buzzed. Instagram notification from my cousin Jasmine. My heart stopped. There, in her latest post, was Yolanda at some luxury boutique surrounded by shopping bags. The caption read, Shopping with the fabulous Mrs. W. That crocodile bag is everything. Taste luxury life. I zoomed in on the receipt visible in one of the bags. The date matched a $12,000 charge on my latest statement. Got to run, I said, forwarding the post to Dylan. Meeting downtown. The meeting wasn't downtown. It was in a quiet coffee shop where Dylan waited with a thick folder. Your cousin's post is gold, he said as I sat down. Timestamp, location, clear view of the merchandise, all purchased with your fraudulent cards. How much more do we need? We're close. The dinner party tonight. Can you record it? I nodded. Poppy showed me how to use this app that looks like a normal phone screen but records everything. Perfect. These people love to brag. Let them. That evening, I arrived at the Watson estate in my best dress. Might as well look good while taking them down. The house was packed with their social circle, everyone dripping in designer labels. Lisa, Yolanda swooped in. Come see the new marble countertops, Italian, of course. My recording app was already running as she led me through the kitchen, detailing every expensive upgrade. Each feature matched another mysterious charge on my accounts. And this lighting fixture, she gestured upward, was such a find in Paris. Paris? I kept my voice casual. When were you there? Oh, darling, you know, that trip last month, the one you helped with. She winked conspiratorially, helped with, like I'd had a choice. Samir appeared with drinks. Mom, you're monopolizing my wife. Can you blame me? She's been such a godsend to this family. Yolanda touched my arm. You know, before Lisa, we were worried about maintaining our lifestyle. Now look at us. My phone buzzed. Jasmine had posted another story. This time it was Yolanda showing off her crocodile bag to the dinner guests, bragging about its exclusivity. Excuse me, I mumbled, hurrying to the bathroom. I forwarded the new post to Dylan with shaking hands. A knock at the door made me jump. Lisa? It was Samir. Dad wants to discuss that investment. He says it's urgent. I opened the door to find both Samir and Zechariah waiting. The opportunity closes tomorrow, Zechariah said. We need your signature tonight. I don't have my checkbook. No need. He pulled out papers. Just sign here and I'll handle everything. I glanced at the documents. Power of attorney forms. They wanted control of everything. I should have my lawyer review these first. Zechariah's face hardened. We're family. Don't you trust us? Trust, like they'd trusted me when they stole my identity. Of course, I lied, but it's a lot of money. I need time to think. Lisa, Samir touched my arm. Dad knows what he's doing. Just sign. I looked at them both, my husband and father-in-law, standing there expecting me to hand over the last of my financial freedom. I'm feeling sick, I said. I should go home. But the party, Samir started. Let her go, Zechariah cut in. We'll discuss this tomorrow. In my car, I called Dylan. They just tried to get me to sign power of attorney forms. Tell me you didn't. No, but they're getting aggressive, pushing for signatures, talking about urgent deadlines. They're planning something big, he said. Good news is, we have enough to move forward. Bad news is, we need to move fast. I watched through the window as the party continued, crystal glasses catching the light, everyone laughing at Yolanda's stories. My so-called family, spending my money, planning to take what little I had left. Do it, I said. Whatever paperwork you need, whatever statements you need me to sign, I want them stopped. Come to my office first thing tomorrow. And Lisa, don't go home tonight. These people, when they realise they're caught, things could get ugly. I started the car, watching Samir search for me through the windows. Don't worry, I know exactly where I'm going. It was time to end this charade. The Watsons wanted to play with fire. Fine, let them burn. The divorce papers sat in my purse like a loaded gun as I prepared dinner. Samir would be home any minute, and for once I wasn't going to serve up lies alongside the meal. My phone had been buzzing all day. Yolanda. Those investment papers need signing today. Zechariah. Call me immediately about the transfer. Samir. Dad's really stressed about this deal. Let's make him happy. I turned off my phone and checked the recording app one last time. Everything was ready. The front door opened. Something smells amazing, Samir called out. Made your favourite. I placed his plate of steak and potatoes on the table. We need to talk. He loosened his tie, settling into his chair. About the investment? Because Dad... No. I pulled out the envelope. About this. His fork clattered against the plate as he read the divorce petition. His face went from confused to angry to calculating in seconds. Baby, what is this? Whatever's wrong, we can fix it. Fix it? I slid printed credit statements across the table. Like you fixed my credit or my identity. I can explain. Explain the forged signatures, the stolen cards, the loans I never approved. He stood up, hands spread in surrender. Okay, yes, I took some liberties, but it was for us, for the family. The family? I laughed bitterly. You mean your mother's shopping sprees, your father's fake investments? They're not fake. Dad just needs capital. To pay off the other people he's scammed. I pushed forward a stack of research papers. I found his previous fraud cases. Did you think I wouldn't? Samir's face darkened. You've been investigating us? Like you've been stealing from me. He reached for my hand. I pulled back. Baby, please, we can work this out. I'll pay everything back. With what money? The money you stole from me? His phone buzzed. Zechariah's name flashed on the screen. Don't, I warned as he reached for it. He answered anyway. Dad, now's not... What? No, she hasn't signed. I know, but... I could hear Zechariah yelling through the phone. She knows, Samir finally said. About everything. More yelling. Then Samir's face changed. I'll handle it. The way he said it made my skin crawl. I stood up, grabbing my purse. Where are you going? His voice was different now. Harder. Away from you. You can't do this to us. He blocked the doorway. Do you know what you'll destroy? The people you'll hurt. Like you hurt me. That was different. We're family. No. I pulled out my phone, showing him the recording app. We're criminals and victims, and guess which one I am? His eyes widened. You've been recording everything. The dinner party, your parents' confessions, this conversation. Delete it. He stepped toward me. Delete it now. It's already with the FBI. He lunged for my phone. I dodged, thanking God for the self-defense classes Poppy had insisted on. "Don't make this worse," I warned, backing toward the door. "Worse?" He laughed desperately. "You're destroying everything. Our marriage, my family's reputation. You destroyed those things. Every time you forged my signature, every time you stole my money, every time you lied." My phone buzzed. Dylan's signal that everything was in place. "I'm leaving," I said. "Don't try to stop me." "They'll never believe you," he called after me. "We're respected in this community. You're just a gold digger trying to cause trouble." I turned back one last time. "Check your email. The FBI will be contacting you shortly about their fraud investigation." His face went pale. "You wouldn't?" "I already did." I touched my bare ring finger. "Goodbye, Samir." Outside, rain had started falling. I got in my car, hands shaking as I started the engine. Through the window, I saw Yolanda pull up in her luxury SUV, probably coming to pressure me about the investment. She waved, all smiles, not knowing her world was about to implode. I drove to Poppy's house, where a spare room and a glass of wine waited. Tomorrow the FBI would move in. Tomorrow the Watsons would learn what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness. My phone lit up with messages. "Samir, please come home. We can fix this." Yolanda, "What have you done?" Zechariah, "You'll regret this." I blocked their numbers one by one. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is fight back. And sometimes justice comes with divorce papers and an FBI investigation. Let them panic. Let them scheme. Their time was up, and mine was just beginning. The FBI moved in at dawn. I watched from my parked car down the street as 3 black SUVs pulled up to the Watson estate. Dylan had texted me the timing, suggesting I might want to witness the end of my nightmare. "Federal agents, open up!" The sound carried clearly across the morning quiet. Through my windshield, I watched Zechariah open the door in his expensive pyjamas, face shifting from annoyance to fear as badges were thrust in his face. "What is the meaning of this?" His voice carried across the lawn. "Sir, we have a warrant to search these premises in connection with multiple counts of fraud and identity theft." Yolanda appeared behind him in her silk robe. "This is ridiculous. Do you know who we are?" "Yes, ma'am. That's why we're here." Neighbours started emerging from their houses as agents streamed into the mansion. I could hear Yolanda's shrill protests. "Those are my personal belongings. You can't touch those." My phone buzzed. Poppy. "Turn on the local news. They're covering it live." Sure enough, news vans were pulling up, cameras rolling as agents carried out boxes of documents, designer bags, jewellery. "Mrs. Watson," a reporter called out, "can you comment on the fraud allegations?" "This is all a misunderstanding." Yolanda tried to block a photographer. "That ungrateful girl is lying." A commotion drew my attention to a police car pulling up. Samir emerged from the house in handcuffs, head down. "Sir, did you knowingly forge your wife's signature on credit applications?" He looked up then, straight at my car. Even from this distance, I could see the mix of anger and desperation in his eyes. My phone rang. Dylan. "We found everything exactly where you said it would be. The forged documents, the credit cards, even receipts they kept as trophies. You did good, Lisa." I watched as an agent carried out the Hermes scarf, the one that had started it all. Yolanda lunged for it, screaming, "That's mine!" "Actually," the agent replied, "according to our evidence, it belongs to Lisa Daniels." "That little witch!" Yolanda spun toward my car. "She's out there watching, isn't she? Lisa, show yourself." I started my engine. I'd seen enough. But before I could drive away, Zechariah broke free from the agents and ran toward my car. "You think this is over?" he shouted. "We made you. You're nothing without the Watson name." 2 agents tackled him to the manicured lawn. As they helped him up, I finally rolled down my window. "Actually," I said clearly, "I'm everything without it." The news cameras swung toward me. Reporters rushed over, but I was already pulling away. In my rearview mirror, I watched their perfect world crumble on their perfect lawn. My phone kept buzzing. Local family arrested in major fraud scheme. Socialites accused of identity theft. Watson financial empire implodes. I drove to Poppy's office, where she waited with coffee and a fierce grin. "They found offshore accounts," she said as I sat down. "Millions hidden away. Your case broke open dozens of other frauds they'd committed. How long will they go away for? With these charges, years, plus full restitution to you and their other victims." I sank into her couch, suddenly exhausted. I kept wondering if I was doing the right thing, if I was being too harsh. They stole your identity, your money, your trust. They deserved everything they got. My phone buzzed again. Jasmine. "OMG! Just saw the news! That Hermes scarf! No wonder Yolanda was always bragging about her generous daughter-in-law." Then Dylan. "Samir's asking to make a deal, wants to testify against his parents." Of course he was. Even now he was trying to save himself. "You should see their social media," Poppy smirked, scrolling through her phone. "All those bragging posts about their luxury lifestyle. The comments are brutal now that people know it was all stolen money." A final text came through from an unknown number. "You'll regret this. Family should protect family." I showed it to Poppy, who immediately called Dylan. "Let them threaten," she said after hanging up. "Every threat just adds to their charges now." Through her office window, I could see the city skyline. Somewhere out there, the Watsons were being processed into custody, their designer clothes exchanged for jumpsuits, their mansion being searched room by room. "You okay?" Poppy asked softly. I touched my bare ring finger, remembering the girl who'd once believed in fairy tales about family and trust. "I will be," I said, and for the first time in months I actually meant it. Sometimes justice wears a badge, sometimes it arrives in dawn raids and handcuffs, and sometimes it looks like a woman who finally decided to fight back. The courtroom fell silent as the judge cleared his throat. I sat between Poppy and Dylan, my hands clasped tightly in my lap. "In the matter of federal fraud charges," the judge began, "this court finds the defendants guilty on all counts." Yolanda's perfectly maintained facade finally cracked. She crumpled into her designer suit, mascara running. Behind her, Zechariah stared straight ahead, his face ashen. "The defendant, Samir," the judge continued, "in light of his cooperation, will serve 5 years. Zechariah and Yolanda Watson will serve 12 years each, with mandatory restitution to all victims." I released a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. Samir turned to look at me from his seat, but I kept my eyes forward. "Additionally," the judge added, "the court orders the immediate liquidation of all assets to repay the victims of this extensive fraud scheme." Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Dylan shielded me as cameras flashed. "Lisa!" Yolanda's voice cut through the chaos as officers led her toward the prison transport. "We're still family. You can't let them do this." I stopped and turned. Family doesn't steal from family. "We gave you everything." "No," I said clearly, making sure the cameras caught every word. "You took everything, and now you're paying it back." Poppy squeezed my arm. "Come on, there's something you need to see." She drove me to my old house, the one I'd shared with Samir. A sold sign stood in the yard. "The liquidation starts here," she explained. "The proceeds will help repay what they stole from you." My phone buzzed. A news alert. "Watson estate seized. Luxury items to be auctioned." "You know what's ironic?" I said, scrolling through photos of Yolanda's precious collections being catalogued for auction. They were so worried about maintaining their lifestyle that they committed fraud. Now they've lost everything. "Speaking of everything," Dylan pulled up in his car, "there's one more stop we need to make." He drove us to a small office building downtown. A new sign was being installed. "Financial Freedom Counselling Services." "What's this?" I asked. "Your new office," Poppy grinned. "Remember that business plan you showed me about helping other fraud victims rebuild their lives? Well, the restitution money is enough to get you started." I stared at the sign, remembering all the nights I'd dreamed of turning my nightmare into something meaningful. "There's more," Dylan added. "We've already got clients. Other victims of the Watsons who need help rebuilding their credit, their lives." My phone buzzed again. "Jasmine, just saw the sentencing news. Girl, you're trending. Shot justice served." I opened social media to find thousands of supportive messages. "You gave us courage to fight back." "Thank you for exposing these predators." "Your story helped me recognize financial abuse in my own marriage." "Lisa?" A woman approached us outside the office. "I saw you at the courthouse. I think my husband is doing what Samir did to you. Can you help me?" I looked at her desperate face, remembering how alone I'd felt before Poppy and Dylan helped me. "Come inside," I said, unlocking the office door. "Let's talk." Later that evening, I sat at my new desk, looking at the framed document Poppy had given me. My final divorce decree. Beside it, she'd framed the first dollar bill earned from my counselling service. A knock at the door revealed Dylan with coffee. "Thought you might need this. Big day." "Thanks." I took the cup, noticing how his hand lingered near mine. "For everything." "You did all the hard work. I just helped with the paperwork." "Still," I met his eyes. "I couldn't have done it without you." My phone buzzed one last time. An email from prison. "Dear Lisa, I'm sorry. I know it's too late, but I need you to know." I deleted Samir's email without reading further. Some apologies come too late. "Ready to go?" Dylan asked. I looked around my office, at the blank walls waiting for success stories, at the empty chairs waiting for people who needed help, at the future I'd built from the ashes of betrayal. "Actually," I smiled, "I think I'll stay a bit longer. There's work to be done." He nodded, understanding. "Dinner tomorrow?" "I'd like that." As he left, I opened my laptop and began typing. "Welcome to Financial Freedom Counselling. If you're reading this, you're not alone. Your story matters. Your future matters. And together, we'll rebuild what was taken from you." I lost a marriage but found my purpose. I lost a fake family but built a real community. And somewhere in a prison cell, the Watsons were learning that karma doesn't wear designer labels. Sometimes it wears a business suit and carries a badge. I touched my bare ring finger one last time, then began to type. There were stories to tell, lives to rebuild, and justice to serve, this time on my terms.